Hello everyone and welcome back to another video for Reviews by Beth, and today I am talking about a book that literally had me kicking and screaming with excitement. I was obsessed with this book, and that is the second book in the ACOTAR series, A Court of Mist and Fury. And guys, it's good. It's good. I was seeing online that everybody was saying that the second book is the best in the series, and I don't think they were wrong, because this one was a complete hit for me. I mean, it was incredible. If you haven't read ACOTAR, or you don't know about A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR is the acronym for A Court of Thorns and Roses, I would highly suggest going and looking at my other video where I reviewed that, because this is the second book in the series, so I'll put a little thingy up here to link to that video. But if you're here for the second book, and I am so excited about this one, so I called it. This book is about Rhysand and his little kind of romance with Feyre. And I was so excited for this because during the first book we kind of see how Feyre, the protagonist of the novel, kind of go through a lot of wobbles, isn't the most emotionally strong character, and she comes into this baddie, the villain one. Not the ultimate villain, because Amarantha is the ultimate villain, but Rhysand is another villain in the first book. But guess what? We got a little enemies to lovers plot once again. It is so exciting, and the way it is written is so good. So a little summary of this book. It's a big book, by the way, you guys. It was a hefty one. This was like 600 pages long. And I'm here for it. I didn't want to put it down, so it kind of worked. But I am suggesting, if you're in a bit of a reading slump, maybe don't go into this straight away. Summary of the book. We begin the book with the ending of the first book, obviously. And we see Feyre have her very happy ending, where she goes back to Tamlin, who is the Lord of the Spring Court, and try and live her happily ever after. However, she's severely affected by what happened in the first book, and rightly so. She went through a lot of trauma. But Tam, little Tamlin over there, who is meant to be her lover and her support, is not helping. He really does not care. Like, when she's getting up in the night due to really bad nightmares, does he come and comfort her once? No. So Tamlin not helping, and he's also not giving Feyre the freedoms that she wants. So Feyre is literally like, oh my goodness, we're free, everybody's free from Amarantha and her evil reign. And Tamlin's like, no, you're not free. I'm going to trap you in the house and not let you out on any of the missions. I'm going to keep everything a secret, and I'm going to make Lucian, my best friend and also someone that you thought you could trust, not tell you anything. So yeah, not very fun for Feyre. So what happens is we see all of the love story that we saw in book one basically unravel in the first 50 pages, which is like, why did I even like Tamlin in the first place? We skip to her wedding day with Tamlin, and she's like, oh my goodness, I cannot walk down the aisle, and she's shouting in her mind, someone please help me. And who appears but Mr. Rhysand? Anyway, so Mr. Rhysand is the Lord of the Night Court. So, two big, they're like god-like figures. They both have powers and strengths, and she was resurrected. She was brought to life into High Fae by 7 of the High Lords at the end of the last novel. That bit is going to be important. So she gets all of the power from each of them, practically making her the most powerful being in that universe, which is pretty cool, but she doesn't know that yet. Anyway, we meet Rhysand, and he is this very troubled character, very emotionally complex. I mean, the way Sarah J. Maas wrote Rhysand, chef's kiss. Because in the first book, we are completely led to hate him. But I mean, you kind of see little hints here and there that he's not as bad as he seems. But we learn that it's all a facade, and he's trying to portray this terrible image because he actually is a good guy at heart. So what happens is Feyre leaves the Spring Court and goes over to the Night Court, and which is meant to be awful, by the way. It's meant to be like the most terrible place on earth. And some of it is. so he has this court of nightmares, and he's like, yeah, no, some of this is like the most terrible place on earth, but then the other bit of it which he loves and he tries to protect is his city called Valeris, and it's beautiful, and she falls in love with it and we fall in love with it. I have to say, throughout this novel you really connect with the character of Feyre, because you kind of go through all the emotions and processes that she goes through in real time. So because she's kind of so unaware as to everything that's happening, we're also unaware as to everything that's happening. So we experience things at the same time as her, which I think makes us more connected to Feyre. And she has such a character development, and she gets stronger in this book, and it is so nice to see, because she was kind of weak and feeble in the other book up to a point, but this one has her character development sorted. I mean, I loved the way that we got crafted into basically someone with a lot of energy and someone who knows her mind, and a feminist, and also Rhysand is a feminist, and we love that for him. And Rhysand gives her all of the freedoms that she wants. He says, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to go back, I will let you go back. He never keeps her hostage. He never makes her feel alienated or not good enough. There is somebody in Highburn who basically was Amarantha's kind of the baddie from before, kind of her boss, comes into the picture, and he's even worse. And we kind of knew about that in book 1, but we really get into it in book 2. So we meet Rhysand's court, so his like accomplices within his little night court, and we also see some amazing characters who get introduced to: Mor, Amren, Asriel, Cassian, and these are really fun characters to me. I really enjoyed meeting them. Each one of them is complex in their own way and has their own storyline, and you end up loving each of them just as much as you love the other characters, and I really want to see more of them, and I just think it was just so lovely to have some more character developments. It seems like the side characters are like stronger than the other characters, but not Rhysand. You fall in love with Rhysand, and it is definitely a slow burn, but there is enough in this for you to kind of want to carry on, because it is just so good. But anyway, Feyre now has all of these powers. Rhysand is trying to train her, but the fun thing is Rhysand and Feyre can talk to each other. They're telepathic, and we get a lot of that in this book. A lot of that. So it's just really fun. You have the actual dialogue, you have the dialogue alongside maybe what's going on, and they're speaking to each other in their minds, and it's just a really fun read. There's a lot of drama as well that happens in this. There's a lot of action. I haven't really been into fantasy as much recently. I think I said in my previous video the only kind of fantasy book that I read was years ago when I read The Hobbit. I think I would definitely read this book. I don't want to ruin the plot twists at the end, and some of the things that happen, you literally have me kicking and screaming and my jaw on the floor, and I could literally not turn the page fast enough. I was like, oh my goodness, staying up way later than I should have. But this is definitely a really good book, and it made me want to pick up the third book straight away. Like, the ending of this book, I literally could not see coming. I was like, I feel like I try and guess how books are going, and sometimes I'll get it right. Most of the times I'll get it right. But with this one, no clue. And that's kind of fun because it keeps you on your toes. When you think something's going to happen, you don't know if it is. So, it is a really fun read. I mean, obviously some things are predictable, like the romance that you want to happen does happen, but then there are some plot twists within that as well. And also, we have a lot of, as said before, we have a lot of feminist themes going through, and she doesn't need to be saved, Feyre. She will save the guy, and I am here for that, and I think that is awesome, and it's definitely something we should see more in books. The girl doesn't need to be saved. Actually, she can save the guy. I love it. I think it's great. But the ending, oh my god, I'm so excited. If I'm to rate this out of 5, 100% a 5 out of 5, and I do not give those out lightly. I was literally, like, when I put the book down, I was just so excited. So 5 out of 5. I think the main things are the way that Sarah J Maas really portrays her characters, and she does them in such an incredible way as to either make you hate them or love them instantly. And obviously we're meant to hate the characters that we're meant to hate and love the characters that we're meant to love, but she does it in such a way that you are so entwined with the characters, and so you love them as much as Feyre loves them, and you want to be friends with them as much as Feyre is friends with them. Like, I want to meet these people. The way that she does characterization is probably her biggest strength, which is good in romance novels. It was definitely a really fun read, and I thought ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses, was like a really good book, but this one just topped it for me, and so I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series goes. I know the next book is even bigger than this one, which is crazy. I think the next one is like 700 pages, but I've been assured by people online that it is just as good. So I'm very, very excited, and I will keep you up to date with what happens next in the series. And yeah, that is all from me. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can by looking at my Amazon links, which I've got the books in, or my Patreon channel, which is linked just down below.